We are here this morning to honor the life of Cynthia Barrett. She is a lady who reminds me of something my grandmother used to always say, pretty is as pretty does. She was a beautiful lady who set quite an example for her daughter. Joanne and I had special attachment to Cynthia, and I pray that you, her family, and friends understand just what an incredible lady she is and will always be. For this is not the end for her, but rather the new beginning that she had longed for. I know that all of you have some special memories and thoughts this morning. The Bible is very important to Cynthia, and so I want to take a few moments to share some scriptures. For me, one verse stands out, Philippians 2:14, because this verse fit her to a T through all that she went through over the last few years. Do everything without complaining or arguing. Cynthia was one of a kind. She would never tell you about her aches and pains, and yet you knew she had them. But no matter how she felt, I never once heard her complain. Renee Plett is such a good friend of Kayla's, and she's going to share a few verses as well.
Psalm 42, 1 through 4. As the deer pants for the water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my food day and night, while they continually say to me, where is your God? When I remember these things, I pour out my soul within me. For I used to go with the multitude. I went with them to the house of God with the voice of joy and praise, with the multitude that kept the pilgrim feast. John 14, 1 through 3. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I wouldn't have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may also be.
Good morning. I am so honored to be here this morning to celebrate a life of a beautiful woman. I'm dear friends with Kayla, and I am just so honored to be able to sing one of her favorite hymns for you this morning. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secure. yours. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
On behalf of our entire family, I'd like to thank each of you for being here today to celebrate the life of my beautiful mother. The support we've received during this time has been a reminder of both how faithful our village is and how faithful our God is. Most of you know me, but my name is Kayla McLean, and Cynthia was my mother. I was the only daughter my mom and dad were able to conceive, and she always told me I was her miracle baby, her one and only, her pride and joy. I always knew my mom's love was a special gift, but I've witnessed over the past few weeks how much of a gift she was to so many of you as well. Her impact reached far and wide, and she touched the lives and hearts of so many. I'm sure each one of you here today could list a number of ways that my mom has made your life brighter, richer, easier, or more full of love. She lived for serving others. It was what made her heart beat. My mom worked many jobs, she wore many hats, and she had many skills throughout her life. But one commonality that was shared with every role she ever served in was this: she existed to serve others and serve them well. As stated in Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 through 24, whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart, as if working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. My mom lived this verse out every single day of her life, and I have no doubt her work on this earth was worthy of the inheritance that she received in heaven. Mom loved me with the fiercest kind of love and always felt everything I was feeling so deeply. She was a shining example of empathy, grace, and compassion. She also loved our boys, Max and Barrett, and they absolutely adored her. I shared pictures and videos of them with her daily, and we FaceTimed with her often, as I know the boys were the light of her life and her reason for fighting for more days on this earth. Their eyes would light up every time they saw her. While she was affectionately known as Nana to our boys, our spunky 3-year-old Barrett always referred to her as Manna. I will never forget how hard Mom fought through her first battle with breast cancer, surgery, as well as various rounds of chemo and radiation to ensure she was healthy enough to be present on our wedding day. And this picture you see here represents what she always claimed was one of the happiest days of her life, the day Brock and I were united in marriage. She always shared how much she adored Brock, how confident she was that God had brought us together, and how proud she was of the beautiful family we had created. My mom loved her mother, my Grams, with the deepest form of love and cared for her up until her health prevented her from doing so. She was always there for my Grams and was holding her hand as she took her last breath. Little did I know that 2 months later, I would be in her same shoes. I'm so thankful they didn't have to be apart for long. As I was caring for Mom, she would always apologize for the silliest things when I was helping her. I continually repeated to her the same thing she always told my grams. You've done for me all my life, and now I get to do for you. I consulted my mom about every single thing in my life. There was nothing I ever had to hide, and I knew her love for me was truly unconditional. She was my best friend, cheerleader, prayer warrior, sounding board, shoulder to cry on, and now has joined my grams as my guardian angel. Every precious moment, memory, and milestone in my life includes my mother. She was always there, supporting me, loving me, and pushing me to be a better version of myself. During the course of her cancer battle, I oftentimes found myself wishing I could take away my mom's pain and take it on as my own, so she could just have an ounce of relief. I am grateful to now take on the pain of losing her in order to free her from the physical pain she had endured for so long on this earth. Mom showed me by her example what it means to be strong, faithful, and persevere through adversity. After years of battling cancer, I believe my mom's passing into heaven was the ultimate form of healing, an answer to our prayers after multiple years of her life spent suffering. I also believe that the struggles she faced and her transparency in fighting them all were intended to change lives and draw others, including myself, closer to Christ. During her COVID hospitalization, we were blessed with 10 straight days together. Even through the ups and downs of that stay, we laughed, cried, prayed, we experienced the presence of the Holy Spirit, we enjoyed meals together, and shared our hearts with one another. I thank God every day for this extra time we were able to spend together, and I know it was time that I needed in order to be able to let her go when God was ready. Mom, your race was finished, your battle won, and your ultimate victory was found in Jesus. I am so thankful for the 35 years I was blessed with your presence in my life. No one has ever loved me the way you did, and being a mother myself has helped me understand just how powerful that love is. I'll always hold on to our memories and will carry you in my heart every day until we meet again.
If I had only known the last time would be the last time, I would have put off all the things I had to do. I would have stayed a little longer, held on a little tighter. Know what I'd give for one more day with you. 'Cause there's a wound here in my heart where something's missing, and they tell me that it's gonna heal with time. But I know you're in a place where all your wounds have been erased, and knowing yours are healed is healing mine. The only scars in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now. know the road you walked was anything but easy. You picked up your share of scars along the way. Oh, but now you're standing in the sun. You fought your fights and the race is won. Your pain is now 1,000,000 miles away. The only stars in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now. Hallelujah, 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 for the hands that hold you now. There's not a day goes by that I don't see you. You live on in all the better parts of me. Until I'm standing with you in the sun, I'll fight this fight in this race I'll run, until I finally see what you can see. The only scars in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now.
I'd like to begin by telling you that I loved every moment that I got to spend with Cynthia. She made you feel so appreciated, so loved. The Bible speaks of spiritual gifts, and Cynthia had a very special gift. It's called the gift of hospitality. I can tell you that not all people have that gift. Terry experienced that gift more than most. She told me that she was the tomboy and Cynthia the girly girl, and them living together was a concern for both. But for 6 years, they made it work. Terry said they only had one little set to, and that was over a mouse. I was told not to ask, but my guess is that girly girls are not fans of mice. One thing that I'm most thankful for is that Cynthia put a new habit into Terry. It was going to church. They were both here most every Sunday. Cindy shares some of my favorite stories. Eunice had no idea that she was having twins until the doc said, "Uh-oh, here comes another one." Cindy came 4 minutes after Cynthia. It may have been years before the hospital bracelets came off, as Eunice could not tell them apart. They loved to dress alike, and oh, how they loved fooling people. They both loved to dance. At one dance in Emporia, Cynthia got tired and told the guy she'd be right back. Guess who showed up? The guy never knew. I cannot imagine all the people that they had fooled over the years and how much joy it gave them. Cindy's last and most wonderful memory is being able to be right by her side as she breathed her last earthly breath. Oh, how I wish we could have seen when Jesus came and took her to her new home. Cindy's son Tyler can remember being fooled himself. He was known as a good eater, and he was so hungry that he turned and yelled at his mom, "Get him something to eat." Cynthia just went ahead and made him a snack and handed it to him. He realized later that he'd called his aunt his mom. The girls had gotten used to it by now. Tyler calls it the best of both worlds, as at times you actually got two moms. Nikki added that she loved to go to Cynthia's with the endless supply of popsicles and always experiencing the simple life, the life that always brought smiles and laughter. She saw Cynthia's perspective on life to be so refreshing, as the challenges that she faced, she always did with grace and a positive outlook. Several friends sent notes, and the most common was that the party was always at Eunice's house. They always loved spending time at their home and sharing so much. One friend wrote from Colorado and said they'd been best friends for over 45 years. No matter how long since they saw each other, it seemed like yesterday. I know that when Cynthia had a friend, it was for a lifetime. My favorite memory of Cynthia was at the old Pizza Hut. Big Mike had a closing celebration with a band and free food. That usually gets a crowd, and this night was just like that. Joanne and I sat in chairs and just watched as the parking lot was full of people. Ron and Cynthia hit the dance floor. Purely concrete, but they got out there and showed us all how to dance. Wow, they were really good. I turned to Joanne and I said, "Hon, do you remember when we?" And she immediately said, "Nope." Ron has been the absolute best. No man could have ever shown love like this man has done. I'm so proud of you, and I can only hope that I show love half as well as you did. But Ron did say that Cynthia had one fault. She was directionally challenged. A trip anywhere was a real adventure, as Ron did the driving and Cynthia did the squirming. Their favorite trip was always to Pueblo to see their friends there, but it was a long way back. It was all east, but not to Cynthia. She just couldn't sit still, and Ron didn't help as he'd try to get her to understand. That's north, that's south. She'd just say, there is no north, south, east, or west, only left or right. He said that's a good thing that Jesus came to show her the way home, otherwise she still might be looking for it. And he said, I can hear her saying, hey, Jesus, is it right or is it left? To all the friends and family that are here this morning, I just have one closing thing to say. Cynthia is not here. We are having closure today. And this is so important because it allows us to get through the first phase of the grief process, which is denial. I know that denial will still happen in so many ways, but we get through it best by understanding that she is gone and she's not coming back here to us. Hold on to moments that remind you of Cynthia. They may not always seem logical, but God uses simple things to help us feel the effect that our loved ones have had on our life. You may hear a song and immediately remember her. I know for a fact, Kayla, you and I both will never hear the song Scars in Heaven again without thinking about this special moment and this special lady that sang that song. I actually wanted to stand and cheer and clap, but you can't do that at funerals. But wow, thank you, Aaron. I'm so thankful for moments that make us remember, but I'm also thankful that Cynthia has run and finished this race called life. Can you honestly think of Cynthia without seeing a smile? I cannot. Her laugh was not quite as contagious as her mom's, but it was close. One more question. Considering how much suffering she went through, would you want to bring her back to the bed in the living room? I would not. Oh, how I wish that we could see what she is seeing. She has now been reunited with a healthy mother. She's been able to see her good friend, Bobby Joe, and they are sharing some stories. She is seeing streets of gold and a mansion that was prepared just for her. I love her so much, and I only want what is best for her. She's experiencing that right now. This is what's best for her. In her last days, she was able to share with all of us gathered around that she truly did love Jesus and believed in all of his words. She is with him right now. And all I can do is say this: thank you, Cynthia, for allowing me to be a part of your life. And I cannot wait to see you again.